Good morning and welcome you all to the today's WEBINT for student of our CMA family on the topic relevance of index in financial reporting and analysis. Respected today's chief guest, CMA Neeraj D. Joshi sir, special guest CMA Niranjan Mishra sir, guest of honor CMA Uttam Naik sir and BB Naik sir. Sir is absent here, and resource person CA SB Das sir. Our chairman CMA Himoj Mishra sir, our vice chairman and coaching committee chairman CMA Santanu Kumar Raut sir, which is absent today, and all the members of MC of Valuations chapter and all other chapters. CMA Antarjami Acharya sir, chairman of Talcher Angul chapter, CMA KC Nanda sir, chairman of Sambalpur chapter, CMA NK Nanda sir, vice chairman of Raurkela chapter, CMA AK Patra sir, chairman of South Odisha chapter, and all the members of managing committee of all other chapter of Odisha. And my beloved students, CMA students, I, Surjanarayan Tripathi, Secretary of Valuations chapter, warmly welcome you all on the today's WEBINT. I would like to convey thanks to our chairman and coaching committee chairman of Valuations chapter and all other chapters in Odisha for their collective effort for conducting the second student WEBINT. First one on the held on Companies Act. Now this is on index in financial reporting and analysis. We also convey our gratitude to all the guests for acceptance of our invitation in spite of Sunday. This is a holiday. Dear students, we have planned to conduct maximum student program on various contemporary topics, which would be helpful during preparation for our examinations and also in future professional career. All are advised to participate in the future program also as mark of inauguration of the program in virtual mode and as a token of honor to our premier institute. Officials are requested to play the institute anthem. It is my proud privilege for a brief introduction of our today's guest and resource persons. CMA D. Joshi sir is a fellow member of our Institute of Cost Accounts of India and member of Pune chapter. Passed CISA examination conducted by ISSCA USA and pursuing his PhD with Symbiosis International University. It is a certified SAP consultant. He is a certified SAP consultant for FICO modules from SAP AG, Germany certified independent director, Microsoft certified professional in MS SQL database. He is elected to the Western India Regional Council for the period 2011 to 2019. He is elected to the Central Council of our institute for the term 2019 to 2023, and also become the chairman of ICI WIRC as well as chairman of Cost Accounting Standard Board of the institute for the year 2019 to 2020. For the year 2020-21, 21-22, he has been discharged professional responsibility as chairman, Management Accounting Committee of the Institute of Cost Accounts of India, and member of many more committees. CMA Joshi sir is a practicing cost and management accountant with over 15 years of post-qualification experience at Pune, promoter director of Livari Info Solution Private Limited and IT's companies in ERP consulting and system audits. Worked with CMC Limited, a group of company of TCS as consultant for FICO module, and worked with Siemens Information System Limited as team leader of various SAP projects, handling national and international assignments. He is also eminent speaker and delivered many major events organized by the institute, such as Global Summit 2020, speaker at National CMA Practitioner Convention, speaker at Student National Convention of ICAI, and many more forums. Sir, welcome you. CMA Niranjan Mishra sir, our special guest, is a fellow member of our Institute of Cost Accounts of India and is a member of Bhubaneswar chapter. He is a practicing cost accountant at Bhubaneswar. He is elected to the Council of the Institute for the term 2015 to 2019 and again elected for the term 2019 to 2023. He lead as chairman of the Tax Research Department, Regional Council and Chapter Coordination Committee, and member of many more important committees of the Institute in the first term of the Council. At present, he has taken the responsibility as chairman committee on cost and management for public and government service, and member of many more committees of the Institute of Cost Accounts of India. He was the chairman of Bhubaneswar chapter in the year 2003 and 4. He has been associated with CMA profession more than 28 years. CMA Uttam Kumar Naik sir is a fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountant of India and member of Bhubaneswar chapter. He is a practicing cost accountant at Bhubaneswar. He is elected as regional council member ICI EARC for term 2019 to 2013. He was the secretary of ICI EARC for the year 2020-21 and at present 2021-22 taken the responsibility as vice chairman. He was also the chairman of ICI Bhubaneswar chapter during the year 2017-18. Our resource person, CA SB Das sir, is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is graduated in Economics Honors from Utkal University and also done MCOM, MBA, PG Diploma in International Business Operation and Master in Journalism and Mass Communications. He has more than 17 years experience in accounting, reporting, taxation, internal and external audit, project financing, budgeting and MIS. He is also more than 17 years experience in providing training and consultancy on strategic finance, portfolio management, derivatives and risk management, international finance, accounting standard, IFRS, and direct and indirect tax planning. He also providing executive training to finance and non-finance professional, including officials of commercial tax, government of Odisha, and a visiting faculty to different school of Odisha. He also provide pre-placement orientation training session of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and Institute of Cost Accounts of India. He is a registered valuer under Section 247 of the Companies Act 2013, IBBI, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. He is also chief mentor cum promoter Sri Siddhi Vinayak Knowledge Enclave, First Knowledge Village of Odisha. I welcome all you, sir. without taking all your precious time, I would like to request our chairman, CMA, Himoj Mishra sir, to address on the occasion. Stop me.
Thank you, Tripathi sir. Very warm good morning to one and all. Respected CMA Neeraj D. Joshi sir, CMA Niranjan Mishra sir, CMA Uttam Naik sir, CA SV Das sir, CMA Antarjami Acharya sir, CMA KC Nanda sir, CMA NK Nanda sir, CMA AK Patra sir, esteemed MC members of all the chapter in Odisha, all the beloved CMA students join in this WEBINT, professional colleagues in the management committee Bhubaneswar chapter. On behalf of the Bhubaneswar chapter and the entire organizing team, I welcome you all to the today's WEBINT meant for the CMA students on the topic relevance of INDs in financial reporting and analysis. I convey my special thanks and gratitude to the guest and resource person on today's WEBINT for acceptance our invitation for the betterment of the students. I also congratulate all the students, all the successful students, those who have cleared their examination in last December 2021 terms of examination conducted by the Institute of Cost Accountant of India. I also convey my best wishes for the aspirant of June 2022 term of examination. Dear students, we have already planned to conduct maximum programs on the topic based on your syllabus, maybe on physical platform or maybe on virtual platform. Accordingly, on 13th February, the topic was kept on Companies Act, and today the topic is on INDs. But we need all of your support through participation. I am sure this will be very much helpful on your examination preparation as well as on your professional career. Expecting all of your support, today we have with eminent resource person CA SV Das sir, who is also my teacher. Hope all will enjoy the session. Before concluding, one advice to all the students: do not fear or harass during the failure, as because failure give you the proper perspective on success. Pray before Almighty for all of your success in all endeavor and good health. Wishing a grand success of the today's WEBINT and a happy Shivaratri in advance. Jai Jagannath.
Now, I request Chairman of Untitled Chapter, to address.
Thank you, Tripathi sir. Respected my CMA professionals over here, and also my hearty welcome to all the participants, the aspirant, the future of CMA fraternity in our country. Only one thing I want to share before all of you, that the platform, the Cuttack Bhubaneswar chapter they have created for you, it's a really a commendable job. Since last couple of years they are doing it. Rather I have many thanks to them, and they are putting such a very nice platform by conglomerating all the resourceful personnels all across the country. That's a great. And because in our area, what used to happen, we normally used to travel a long way to have participation with our seniors and resource personnel. Now, with their efforts of their, I can say, wholeheartedly effort. They are arranging for you such a nice platform where you can learn at least to the best of their they are arranging such nice programs. Repeatedly they are doing also with their own efforts. Anyway, thanks to them. And also I again welcome to our resources personnel. They are very rather I can say so they do have huge experience. Rather I can say you just collect the knowledge from whatever they have earned in their life, so that you can also make a part of that experience in your life. And again, thank you, Emoji and Tripathi sir, also Misra sir, so Uttamji, and also the resources personnel. I hope the program will be a great success, and our students will be getting a lot of result out of that. Thank you. Have a nice.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I request Vice Chairman of Rourkela Chapter, CMA N.K. Nanda sir, to address. Nanda. There may be some technical problem. So now I request CMA Uttam Kumar Nayak sir, Regional Council Member, Vice Chairman, ICI Eastern Region Council, please address.
Thanking you, Tripathi. Good morning to all present in the today's webinar organized by the Bhubaneswar chapter in association with all Odisha chapters, all the guests, resource person, chairman, and all the members of managing committee of all the chapters at Odisha. My dear CMA students at Pan Odisha and invitee and guests, I congratulate the teams of managing committee of all chapters in Odisha for collectively arranged this specific webinar on relevance of Indians in financial reporting and analysis for the betterment of students. I appreciate the initiation taken by the management of Bhubaneswar chapter and support of all other chapters in Odisha, considering the betterment of students. Hope students shall acquire some extra input from the today's deliberation of Indians, who is a grand success of the webinar. My best wishes for all the success in CMA courses as well in your professional career of all the students. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thanking you. Jai Jagannath.
Now I request N.K. Nanda sir, Vice Chairman of Rourkela chapter, to address.
Esteemed council members of ICI and regional council members of Eastern India Council of ICI and chairman Bhubaneswar chapter and respective chairmen of all chapters of ICI from Odisha and on the honorable resource person of this web interaction, and dear professional colleagues and my beloved students. A very good morning to everybody, and I am happy to be present in today's virtual interaction on relevance of Indians in financial reporting and analysis organized by Bhubaneswar chapter in association with all ICI chapters of Odisha. I again congratulate and thank the management committee of Bhubaneswar chapter for organizing such a useful interaction for our students. I, on behalf of Rourkela chapter, assure our full support for all future endeavors of Bhubaneswar chapter for benefits of CMA profession. One thing I am to inform to this August gathering, this is a very good platform, very interesting and good and useful platform has been created by the Bhubaneswar chapter. But considering the student strength in Odisha, I think hardly 80 student people have attended this web interaction, and 30 or 40 students are only there. And we should market and communicate. We should take out all out efforts to associate the students. That is very useful and very interesting, and it will be required for the students. So how the more student community will participate in this, all our chapters will try our best to do this and make this platform a very success. So I thank you all, and we will go ahead with this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request the mentor of our chapter, CMA Niranjan Misra sir, council member and chairman of Committee on Cost and Management for Public and Government Service, the Institute of Cost of India. Sir, please address.
Thank you very much, Sudhya. Very good morning. I am welcoming all the participants, basically the students, our dear students, the future family members of our CM fraternity, the dynamic chairman of one chapter, CMA Himojim Mishraji, my knowledgeable academician and dynamic council colleagues, CMA Niraj Joshi, CMA Nanda sir from the Rauta chapter, CMA Keshi Nanda sir, the chairman Sambalpur chapter, Uttam Naik ji, regional council member and vice chairman of the ERC, Satyavata Das, the academician and the knowledgeable resource person of the today's occasion, and our other members, management members. It is very proud moment for me that I am the son of this. I am the son of the soil. I am the member of one chapter, and I have got more enlightened from the chapter's initiative since last several years. And this is an excellent initiative by the chapter during this pandemic. This chapter has organized first virtual and physical one program on Company Act in both virtual and physical mode on 28th of this month, and it's the first time in the country. Secondly, the initiative taken by this managing committee to make the students update on the topics of their syllabus and other curricular activities, so that their knowledge will be enriched and they can be able to succeed in the examination and also in the interview also. That's a nice attempt taken by the one chapter, and not only one chapter, the support of other chapters also commendable, and they also supporting one chapters. And what Nanda sir told from the Rautla chapter, we have to create awareness among the students, because when we are calling the great personalities like Niraj Joshi ji and Satyavata Das ji, and they have came here to enlighten the members of the skill of the members by sparing their valuable time. So more and more students should join, because it's not the right time to enlighten the students, because nowadays this virtual media is the only media. It will be the only media in the future also. So it's my honest request to all the management members, those are available here, so that they will take necessary step to involve more and more students in the future occasions. And I think this is the second one, and I hope it will be a continued one in the near future. And my advice to the students, my dear students, those have gone through the Bhagavad Gita, you might have find the three yoga, basically Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and your Jnana Yoga. So your Jnana Yoga means your knowledge, path of knowledge. So you have to first think what you have to do in the future, what you have to do in your life. That is most essential. And after that, you have to follow the Karma Yoga, the path of action. And unless if you think that I want to be a leader, I want a finance leader in any organization, then you have to devote. You have to do the work. You have to move in a right direction. And finally, the Bhakti Yoga is the path of devotion. And unless there is a devotion and there is a true karma and there is a true knowledge, then you cannot succeed at the top of the ladder. That is my earnest request to you. I am not telling from any quote or anything else. That I am telling from my own experience, because when I have passed this CMA esteemed CMA examination in the 92, I have not joined any organization, though I have selected in the 7 or 8 PSUs, but I did not join. Though there was no practice at that time, but I want to be independent, and I started my own practice. And as of now, this is the one of the biggest farm in the Eastern region, and that I have not created. That is only these three things: knowledge, devotion, and my action, and with the support of my colleagues. And you should be proud of the Odisha students, because as of now, to my knowledge, more than 25 son of the soil became DFA. Recently, one Mr. Sarda Bhushan Mahanti, who was working in the NALCO, has been selected the Director of Finance of Indian Air Earth Limited. Recently, another person, Mr. Joshi sir, Mr. R.K. Joshi, he became the NALCO Director of Finance. And you can find many more people. Those are working in the CMD and the Director of Finance of this son of our state in different PSU, state central PSUs. And in state PSUs, you find that more and more people are in CMA. Because if you want to be the leader, be the leader, not the implementer or executor. By passing the CMA, you can be executor or you can be implementer. But if you want a leader in the finance area, your own choice of area, maybe taxation, maybe accounting, maybe corporate law, because we have 16 subjects and 16 are each individual areas. So you can be leader in one area, not like that. After completing, I am a CMA, I want handsome salary, I want a good this thing, but that is not the end. So if you look at the end of your life, build your career in a proper way. You might have seen the stone. There are 3 types of stone. One stone, it can be used for the building a house. Then if you polish it, it can be used as a floor. But if it's more polished, then it can be a statue and it can be worshipped in the temple. So you should be like that statue to be worshipped in the temple. That extent you should be polished. So this is my advice to you. So the time is very short. We have to hear our non-chief guest and other resource person. So thank you very much. Wish you a bright career. Thank you very much. Jai Jagannath.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our chief guest of the WEBINT, CM Neeraj Joshi sir, council member and chairman of Management Accounting Committee of ICAI. Sir, please address.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I congratulate all the students who are attending this program and who have successfully cleared any of the examination, one group or both group of the December and January attempt, the concluded examination. I also thank the Bhubaneswar chapter and all other chapters for inviting me to address the students. It's really a great occasion and pleasure to be among the students and to share experiences that we have accumulated over the years with them, so that we can guide the budding professionals, correct? It's our responsibility as council member or any representative of the institute to help and carve the future for the profession, because they are the ones who are going to take this profession ahead and to the great heights. And I'm really pleased that Bhubaneswar chapter is arranging this kind of a WEBINT series for the students. We have seen a lot of WEBINT series happening for the members, but something beyond the curriculum or something to add on to the curriculum and to equip them with the latest knowledge, specially oriented for the students, is really a commendable job. But we all know that the Bhubaneswar chapter and all other chapters in the eastern region also, they have been leading in taking such nice initiatives. And of course, ably led by and ably mentored by our own Niranjan Mishra sir, who himself is kind of a mentor to me. He's very senior to me also. And we all look up to him for getting advice and guidance whenever we are functioning in the council also. So I once again thank all of you for giving me the time. The today's topic, you have chosen it very pertinently, the IND AS and its impact in the financial reporting. Though we are students of, or though the students are for the course of CMA, that's cost and management accounting, financial accounting forms the base for any decision making in an industry. And nowadays IND AS is here, correct? Majority of the big companies, they are on IND AS. Or if we are looking for a global perspective, then IFRS is there, correct? So IND AS is nothing but, I can say, around 80-85% adaptation of IFRS and adjusted to the Indian scenario in bits and pieces. So if we understand IND AS thoroughly and have a command over it, it will help us also to understand IFRS very easily. And for students, it becomes a very good opportunity or very good career choice if they want to go abroad also. It has a very close link to our own profession, that is cost and management accounting. Because in cost accounting, what we are using as the basis for calculation of costing information is the accounts data. And unless we understand that how the accounts are prepared or what different standards of accounting have to give treatment to various elements of cost, because every expense, of course, is after all an element of cost. So how each element of cost is treated in the accounts, till that point in time, we as CMA professionals will not be in a position to determine the treatment, the correct treatment in costing. Correct? So it's a very, very pertinent topic, and I'm sure that there are much more learned and expert speakers than me here today to guide the students in this particular area. I would like to just touch upon few of the examples which we generally highlight that has a direct impact on costing because of the IND AS adjustments or IND AS standards that have got introduced. First and foremost, Ind AS has introduced a very, very vital and innovative concept in accounting, which was not there in earlier accounting standards, and that is of revaluation. Correct. So every year we have to revalue our assets. Now it depends upon what kind of methodology for asset accounting we consider, but revaluation becomes a very, very highly integral part of Ind AS. But at the same time, we also have to see that what impact it has on the costing. Costing runs on principle of normality. Correct. So if every year I am going to start revaluing my asset in books, in financial record, whether I shall consider the same in costing also, or I shall take a different view. So these are some of the questions that will correlate costing and Ind AS, right? Because if my value of asset keeps on changing and my depreciation keeps on changing on yearly basis, then the basic fundamental principle of normality is lost in costing. Correct. So that is one point that I just wanted to highlight, that why Ind AS is important, because unless we understand that what is happening in accounting, we are not able to take decision from the perspective of cost and management accounting. Second example can be of unwinding of cost, which are clubbed under finance cost. There are so many costs, mainly pertaining to say employee cost or depreciation also, which are having two effects. One is unwinding effect and one is impact on the financial, that interest and finance cost. Now, how do we treat them? Whether we consider this unwinding portion as part of our interest and finance cost in terms of costing terminology, or we don't. Correct. So Institute has come out with certain kind of guidelines or through answers to some of the technical queries, where the Institute has taken a stand that the effect of unwinding may not be considered as part of interest and finance cost, or it can be clubbed under the respective cost elements. Correct. So these are various questions that as a professional, when you go ahead, may not be relevant for the students at inter level who are attending, but very much relevant for the students who are at final level, because they are at the last step of being professional. So maybe those will appear, and if they clear, then they will be entering the professional life. And these are the questions that they should keep at back of their mind whenever they are approaching Ind AS as a subject. Correct. Then there is a question of treatment of finance lease, which has become very, very critical, the lease accounting and the revenue recognition. These are two very critical standards from the perspective of cost accounting. Correct. There are so many standards which are important from financial accounting perspective, which you will be going through now. But these are some which are critical for the cost accounting perspective also. Correct. That what happens to leases. So if I treat the lease accounting treatment as is in my costing that appears in my Ind AS books, then again, my cost accounting principle of normality goes for a toss. So Institute has given answer to the technical query specifying that I take only the actual lease payment, like under the old method. So now you have to know both the old method as well as new method. So when as a student of costing, you are taking a balance sheet, which is Ind AS balance sheet, then you have to calculate the lease accounting entries as per the old entries and the new entries. So old entries I take into costing, and the delta between old and new, I take it to the reconciliation statement. That is the answer that is already given by the Institute. So Institute has taken a stand. So that my lease accounting charge or lease charge on costing remains constant over the period. It doesn't change because my IRR estimations have changed or my discounting rates have changed. So it shall remain constant over the period of life. So that is one of the areas which will affect the costing. Other part is a very small part, may appear in only few cases, the discontinued operations. So Ind AS has a particular way of reporting of discontinued operation. On face of it, it's get reported as a single line entry of profit or loss from discontinued operations. Of course, Ind AS calls for a lot of disclosures. So much more information is available in the Ind AS balance sheet than it used to be there earlier. So you should be able to read through that information. You shall be able to know that which information in detail is available when only the summary is appearing on the face. So this is something that the students have to learn. So I was saying, like in case of discontinued operation, it appears as a single line entry, profit and loss from discontinued operation. But if I come to costing now, if I'm going to compile a cost sheet out of that balance sheet, If the operations have discontinued, say after 7 months of operation, then I have to go into details of that profit. I need to understand what was the expense, what was the revenue, and then club it with the continued operations to arrive at the correct costing or correct costing exercise. So these are some things that the students also have to imbibe into themselves, that when they are understanding or when they are learning the Ind AS, they also should try to relate it with the costing principles. Because after all, we all are costing students, correct? We are pursuing a profession of cost and management accounting. So understanding, so our work has doubled, correct? First, understand what is Ind AS, and then try and relate it with how it will impact costing or how it will impact management accounting. So I request all the students to have an open mind and first of all, learn to read the balance sheet, because that's one thing that maybe I have to say that the other professionals, they know us better than us, correct? Because we are not taught to read through the balance sheet. So what I would expect that the students should know that how to read a P&L and balance sheet, how to read an annual report. We start our job by just taking P&L out of the entire gamut of that statement of maybe 200 pages and start compiling cost sheet. But that is not how a good cost accountant or good CMA would function. You have to read through the entire annual report. You will find so much of information, disclosures are there, so many notes to accounts are there. And we need to understand that how it is there or how detailed way the Ind AS reporting is giving you the information and how you can make use of that information in your professional analysis or professional assessment. So these are some of the points that I would request the students to keep at back of their mind then when they are approaching Ind AS as a topic. And I wish and I hope all of you a great success in your upcoming examination. I, along with Mishra sir, is also examination committee member. So I have few tips for you, which the feedback generally we have assimilated is you need to study hard. That's the first feedback that we have received from the examiners, correct? That the students appearing for the examination, they have to study hard. So please study harder, correct? You must have studied hard, but now it's time to study harder. And the chapter is making available so many facilities and so many extracurricular or extra inputs to you. So make use of them, study harder. And apart from studies, I always give 2 to 3 inputs to all the students whom I address. That one is improve your English speaking ability, correct? You may have a very high level of abhiman of your mother tongue. I also do. I come from Maharashtra, so I had my entire education in Marathi. So I support the Marathi movement. But after all, when you are going into the business world, English is the language, correct? So you may speak in your local tongue, but you cannot speak in your local mother tongue when you are appearing for an interview. So you have to have a very good command over English. So don't forget about that. Our course is not a full-time course. It's a correspondence course. So there is a limitation to which the institute or the chapter will be able to help you. So you have to help yourself. So first is English communication and second is English writing. So you may be able to communicate well, but because this I have personal experience, if I ask any of my article to write a letter to a senior manager position, then the kind of English they write in the letter is really shocking. I will not use any other bad word, but it's really shocking, correct? So the students have to learn how to write letters also. It's a very basic thing, very basic understanding of communication skills. So one is oral communication, other is written communication, and you have to improve in both. Unless you do that, you will not be able to showcase your knowledge, correct? It's an era of presenting yourself well. It's an era of marketing. So you shall be able to market yourself when you are appearing for the interview, because you are appearing with your professional peers. You are not appearing alone. For a single position, there may be 100 participants. So you shall be able to showcase yourself, and that happens only when you are good in communication. So start writing, start reading. And the fun exercise to improve your English is start watching English movies. This was told to me when I did my MBA. As I told you, I did my entire education in Marathi medium, and then I shifted to MBA. So it was a big cultural kind of a gap to me, where I learned whatever little I can do in English communication. I thank my professor, our very own CMA, Dr. Vechlekar sir. He's no more, but he was mentor to many. our own cost accountant, correct? So he told me that, Neeraj, one exercise you do, you stop watching Hindi and Marathi movies, you start watching only English movies. So that's what I tell all the students nowadays, that now, because of all the OTT platform, you have your Hotstar, you have Amazon, Netflix, everything in your mobile. So rather than watching Hindi and maybe your own local language movies, once in a while start watching English movie also. That helps you understand or improve your English, at least communication skills, or you will understand what other person is speaking when they are speaking in English without subtitle, correct? So watch a movie without subtitle, or you will start reading and not listening. So these are few tips from my side. And I once again thank Bhubaneswar chapter for giving me this opportunity. And I hope that in some time, very near future, we can do this kind of exercises in physical mode also. Currently, there is a limitation, you all know that. But of course, COVID has given us a lot in terms of good opportunities as well, like this one, that I am sitting in Pune and very much conversing with the people right to the other end of the country. But hopefully very soon we can meet in person. With this, I thank you all and wish all the students all the best for their examination. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I think you are on the mute.
Okay, now I request our resource person, my elder brother, SB Das sir, to start the technical session. I spent a lot of time with him during my study. I know he's a brilliant speaker. I can request our student to listen the resource person carefully, which help him to improve their knowledge and also helpful in the exam. Swapna, you can start.
Thank you, Surya. And thank you, Chairman of Bhubaneswar Branch, CMA Himoj Mishra. He was a student to me, and he always, whenever I meet Himoj or Surya, actually, really it is a very enriching experience. And when they invite, I simply say that no, whatever may be the scenario, whatever may be the situation, I will be there. Okay, and that is the spirit. I cannot miss students. That is my basic thought. I cannot miss the students. Whenever I get an opportunity to meet students or to share knowledge with the students, whether it is Institute of Cost Accountants of India, or whether it is Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, or Company Secretaries of India, it is really a pleasure. And I think I am blessed enough to get such opportunities to come in the student surrounding and share my knowledge, what I have enriched throughout my life. Thank you, CMA Niranjan sir. I really appreciate his thought of knowledge, action, devotion from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the KD principle. CMA Niroj Joshi sir, he really linked between IND AS and the cost accounting principles, how IND AS can be inclined with cost accounting or cost accounting practices that really helpful to the students. CMA NK Nanda sir, and all the council and regional council members of Institute of Cost Accountants of India. It is my pleasure, and I feel myself fortunate that I am getting this platform to share my knowledge among the students of Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Now today's topic, IND AS, its relevance in financial reporting and financial analysis. So there are two concepts here we are here to discuss. One is relevance of IND AS in financial reporting, and second, relevance of IND AS in financial analysis. So when I say financial reporting, normally what Neeraj sir said, we must understand how to read a balance sheet or how to read an income statement, okay, or how to read the financial statements or how to analyze the financial statements. So we, as the students of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India or Institute of Cost Accountants of India, should always keep one thing in our mind. Our role is not just bookkeeping, book writing, or understanding taxation and all these things. Our role is quite wider enough. And when we think about accounting standards, these are the standards which distinguishes between a normal commerce or accounting students from chartered accountants or cost accountants. So after becoming cost accountants, you will join companies or corporates maybe in future you will be the leader in finance in big corporates. When I joined in my first corporate, that is Ambi Valley Lake City project, my CFO was a cost accountant. Okay, so I learned a lot of things from him, and the first thing that he told me when I joined my first job, just what CMA Niraj Joshi sir said now. He said ki we have to have complete knowledge on balance sheet, okay, so that we can play a major role in financial reporting and financial analysis. So balance sheet is the face of a company or face of a corporate, okay. So understanding the balance sheet or income statement is the first requirement for any student. Now this platform is, as I know, I understand, is for those students who are joining cost accounting courses now. Those who are in intermediate level. Okay, so I will not go into the toughest parts of the IND AS. I will just give a background of IND AS and how they are relevant for financial reporting and financial analysis. So if you ask me, the first thing that we must understand, what is IND AS and how it is distinguished from accounting standards. Okay, now there is one Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It is responsible for development of accounting standards in India. So Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has developed around 32 accounting standards. But after the emergence of National Financial Reporting Authority, now what the government thought, due to lot of financial frauds in banks and big corporates like Satyam and banking firms going on banking frauds, what the government is thinking nowadays to keep the institute or the learning platform different from the regulating platform. What happened earlier, the accounting and reporting part was completely looked into by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It was a learning platform for chartered accountant students. Okay, so it was developing accounting standards, and the chartered accountants who were in practice or who were in job, they were using the accounting standards in financial statement preparation or financial statement development. And due to the frauds in corporates and banking sectors, what the government felt, why not to distinguish the education and reporting part different? And that is the reason why they developed one authority, and that authority is Nfra, National Financial Reporting Authority. Now Nfra is responsible for looking into the financial affairs of companies. So I am highlighting the word companies. So if you go into other business entities like proprietorship firm, partnership firms, trust, non-government organizations like these, still they are following accounting standards. They are not bound to follow IND AS. So IND AS are normally applicable to companies, and that too not all companies. As on today, IND AS is applicable to two types of companies basically. One, companies which are listed. Listed means companies whose securities, I'm using the word security. Securities means it may be shares or it may be debentures, it may be bonds, it may be any financial instrument whose securities are listed in a recognized stock exchange. So if a company's securities are listed in a recognized stock exchange, then it is bound to follow IND AS 1. And second, if a company's net worth is more than 250 crores, अगर एक कंपनी का नेटवर्थ 250 करोड़ से ज्यादा है, then it is again it is bound to follow the IND AS. Earlier up to 2016 the limit was 500 crores, but now it is 250 crores. But it is highly advisable that since companies are going from day to day, and if they are thinking that their net worth means share capital plus reserve and surplus. So when I say net worth means the share capital plus reserve and surplus. It is not just the share capital of the company. So if the share capital and accumulated profit in the name of reserve and surplus exceeds 250 crore, then it is bound to follow IND AS. Now these IND AS are, as CMA Niraj Joshi rightly said, these are the adaptation from International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. So International Financial Reporting Standards are the standards followed by almost all European countries. But again, you keep in your mind, America, that means US, is not following IFRS. It has its own GAAP, US GAAP. So US or United States is following US GAAP. It's only its own generally accepted accounting principles, and almost all other countries, basically the European countries, they are following all the IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. Now the numbers assigned to IND AS resemble the IFRS number framed by the international financial reporting standards. Now, why? Because companies are going global. There are a lot of companies which are in international platform. They are doing business internationally. So there was a need for uniformity. So uniformity in accounting and uniformity in reporting. And that is the reason why, okay, the IND AS was developed to make the Indian accounting standards in par with international financial reporting standards. That is the basic thing. Now, when we follow IND AS, if all the corporates are following IND AS, just like the current status is that all listed companies have to compulsorily follow IND AS. What is the relevance? The relevance is that if listed companies follow IND AS, so if I am interested in investing in the shares of a company as a normal individual, then obviously for long-term investments, I will go into the financial statements of the company. Okay, normally you may be knowing, or while in the course of your study, you will definitely learn about there are two types of valuations in stock market. One is fundamental valuation and another is technical valuation. When you are making short-term investment in stock market, you technically watch how the stock market is moving, how the price of the shares are moving, and on that basis you decide whether to invest in the company or not. That is one aspect. And second aspect, if you want to be a long-term investors, basically people who want to invest for 5 years, 10 years or 15 years, or those who are investing in SIP, okay, that means monthly they are investing a small amount in the stock market, they need to make a fundamental valuation of the company. So when I need to make a fundamental valuation of the company, I necessarily has to take into consideration the financial statements of the company. I will go into what is financial statement as per IND AS and as per Companies Act later on, but I have to make a fundamental analysis of the company. So what is fundamental analysis? Fundamental analysis means I will take last 3, 4 or 5 years balance sheet and financial profit and loss statement of the company. I will make an analysis that how the company is performing, and thereafter I will decide whether to invest in the company is justified or not. I will make a valuation of the share of the company on the basis of certain parameters, and I will compare the valuation with the quoted price in the stock market. And if the price seems to be good for me, then I will definitely make the investment in the company. So there are a lot of stakeholders to a company. I'm not just talking about the shareholders, I'm talking about the stakeholders. There are a lot of stakeholders in a company. Okay, for example, employees, they decide to join a company on the basis of performance and future endeavor of the company. Okay, similarly, suppliers, they want to supply on credit basis provided the company's financials are strong enough. Bankers, they provide loan to the company, okay, and if they find that the company will be capable enough to repay the loan, then obviously they will lend the company. Okay, similarly, shareholders will invest in the shares in the company provided they are assured with some rate of return which is more than the banking rate of interest. That means when we invest in banks, we do not take any risk and we are getting a fixed rate of return. So if I decide to invest in a company, of course I may get dividend or I might not get dividend. In fact, there is not surety about whether I will get back my principal or not, because market price of the share is going up and down from time to time. So I will decide whether the company is, what is the present status of the company, what is the present financial status of the company, and whether to invest in that company or not. So there are a lot of stakeholders, not only the shareholders, who invest in the company or who get themselves associated with the company, and basically on the basis of the financials of the company. And there are hundreds of companies which are listed in the stock exchange, Suppose each one company follow their own accounting standards or own accounting principles or own accounting policies, then it will be not wise enough to decide in which company I should invest. Because if the accounting principles or policies followed by the companies are different for different companies, I cannot make a valuable judgment or I cannot make a reliable judgment on the valuation of the shares of the company. And that is the reason why, in order to make it uniform, it is decided that after a lot of thoughts being carried on and all those things happened during the past 20 or 30 years, it is being decided that, okay, all companies have to follow similar set of accounting principles and policies, and that is the emergence of IND AS. So IND AS has two most relevant points. Point one, IND AS justifies uniformity in accounting principles and policies. Okay, among the or across the industry and across the companies. That means all companies which are listed, those are listed in stock exchange. Okay, they are following the same accounting principles and policies. That is the first significance or importance of IND AS. And second thing is that IND AS has global relevance. IND AS are developed in par with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. So when we globally evaluate companies, if the set of principles followed by the global or international acclaimed companies are similar to those of companies which are domestic companies listed in regional stock exchange or listed in national stock exchange or Bombay Stock Exchange, obviously we can take more valuable judgment regarding investment in the companies. So these are the two things that we have to keep in our mind while judging the relevance of the accounting standards or in the, Indian accounting standards. IND AS means Indian accounting standards. Now let us go to financial statements so far as IND AS is concerned. Now participants, those who have some questions, they can put them in the charts so that before the end of the session, I will answer one by one those who are in the charts. So there will be a question and answer session for the last during the last 5 or 10 minutes of this session, where I will try my level best to answer all your queries. Now, sir, what is the relevance? If you ask me, sir, what is the relevance of IND AS for cost accounting students? We are the cost accountants. Okay, so we need to read the cost accounting standards. So why we should go to the IND AS, Indian accounting standards? My dear friends, you remember one thing. Now, internal audit can be taken by cost accountants also. Okay, so cost accountants can do internal audit of companies, irrespective of the fact whether it is a manufacturing company, whether it is a trading company, or whether it is a service-oriented company. Irrespective of the fact, you can carry on the internal audit of banks. Okay, so when we carry on the internal audit of banks, then obviously we should be convenient with all the IND AS followed by the banks or followed by the companies or any type of companies which are following the IND AS. So that is the basic reason that why we should be convenient with all the IND AS. So keep it in your mind, I am a cost accountant, I should not read the IND AS, or I will complete all the accounting papers without going through IND AS thoroughly. That will not justify your professional career. Okay, the first and foremost thing that you should keep in your mind is that you are going to be the internal auditor of a company once you pass the cost accountancy course. Okay, you can be, that means you will be an internal auditor. If you apply for the internal audit assignments of any company, then you can do the internal audit. And that is the reason why you should have complete and thorough knowledge. I am not asking you to have basic knowledge on IND AS. You should have complete and thorough knowledge on IND AS. IND AS is the basic that you should have. Just like Bhagavad Gita for any Sanatan Dharmi or Quran for any Muslim, similarly, these accounting standards or IND AS are the basic minimum requirement, whether you are pursuing CA, Chartered Accountancy, or cost accountancy. You have to have complete knowledge on IND AS. You cannot bypass it. आप उसको bypass नहीं कर सकते. Please, please, please keep it in your mind from the very beginning. Now, what is the relevance of these IND AS? See, if in a company, अगर आप लेके चलो, मैं आपको example के through में बताना चाहता हूँ. Suppose एक company में आप accountant हो. Okay, suppose there is a claim against a company. Company के against में claim आ गया. What claim? Suppose a customer of the company claim a compensation of ₹5 lakhs. Then as a normal accountant, what he will tell? Since the compensation is there existing as on 31st March, so I will create a provision. Let us create a provision. But as a cost accountant or as a professional accountant, you should look into what the provision of accounting standards or IND AS is saying relating to provisioning. If all the conditions stated in IND AS 37 relating to contingency and provisions are justified, then only a provision can be created. So you cannot create a provision as it is. See, my friends, all companies which are listed in a stock exchange, need to follow accounting standards. So after passing this course, suppose you get an opportunity to work in a big corporate, अगर आपको opportunity मिलता है एक big corporate में काम करने के लिए, then if you do not follow the Ind AS and you just prepare the financial statements, maybe this may be qualified by the auditor of the company, okay, or they may be dangerous for the stakeholders of the company. For example, on the basis of financial statements, suppose a person entered into some contracts with the company and subsequently he found that the financial statements of the company are not true and fair because they are not prepared as per the IND AS. Then what will happen? Your stake, your professional knowledge, all your professional technical, all your professional and technical knowledge are under stake. Remember. So this is the distinction between a professional accountant like you or chartered accountants or cost accountants. This is the difference of a cost accountant with a normal graduate in commerce or normal postgraduate in commerce. They read accounts as it is, but we read accounts as per the accounting standards or in the AS. Okay, so let me tell you in this connection, in this example also, okay, when I can create a provision can be created if certain conditions are satisfied. Now, what are the conditions need to be satisfied? There must be an event, past event. Due to the past event, there must be a present obligation. Reliable accounting estimation must be possible, okay, and there must be a probable cash outflow. These are the 4 basic conditions need to be satisfied in order to recognize a provision. If any of these condition is not standing, then you cannot clear the provision. Now, what is the impact of creating the provision? If I create a provision, then my profit is going to be reduced by rupees 1 lakh or 2 lakh to the extent of the amount of the provision. If my profit reduces, then my EPS is going to be reduced. Earning per share is going to be reduced. If my earning per share reduced, then my market price per share, expected market price per share is going to be reduced. If my expected market price per share is going to be reduced, then it is going to affect my market capitalization adversely. Okay, so this is the combined or indirect impact of not following the accounting standards. So following the accounting standards ensure us, to read, to analyze, to interpret the financial statements thoroughly so that we can make a proper and fair valuation of the company or business of the company. This is one of the example what I am telling. Similarly, there is IND AS 115, revenue recognition, contract with customers. Earlier, there were construction contract, there is revenue recognition, but now they have merged all revenue related activities to one IND AS, that is IND AS 115. Now, you will ask me, sir, what is the relevance of IND AS 115? Suppose ले लो कि whatever amount you receive in a company, जो भी पैसा company को मिलता है, normally what we tell कि okay, पैसा आ गया company को, let us recognize the revenue. But we have to look into what IND AS 115 tells for recognition of revenue. What conditions need to be satisfied in order to recognize the revenue? Revenue को recognize करने के लिए क्या-क्या conditions satisfy होना चाहिए? Okay, all right, interest, control relating to the asset must be transferred from the seller to the buyer in order to recognize the revenue. Right, interest and control and risk must be transferred from the seller to the buyer. So unless and until these four things are transferred from the seller to the buyer, revenue cannot be recognized. For example, I'm giving one example in this connection. I'm just giving simple examples so that you can understand the relevance of IND AS. Why I should learn the IND AS? Without understanding the IND AS, practically you cannot move in the field of accounting. Suppose you want to do the practice of accounts, maybe for proprietorship firms, partnership firms, or maybe for corporates. Unless and until you have thorough knowledge on these accounting standards or IND AS, you cannot do these things. Otherwise, if you do, then you may be in problem in future. So practically, see, whatever you have read till your graduation level, okay, those are not going to affect your career ahead. But now onwards, this is going to be your bread and butter. This is going to be your life. So you cannot compromise with your life. So आपका life क्या है? These are the accounting standards, taxation, cost accounting principles, cost accounting standards, auditing standards. These are going to be the bread and butter for your career. So how can you compromise with this? So अगर कोई आपको कहता है कि नहीं ये अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं, तू किसी भी तरह ये चैप्टर्स को अच्छी तरह से पढ़ ले और तू कॉस्ट अकाउंटिंग का कोर्स पास हो जाएगा, then he is making fool. वो आपको फुल बना रहा है. Do not hear about those things. Take these my words seriously. You have to learn each and every accounting standard thoroughly. You cannot compromise with your life because these are going to be your life. Okay. And similarly, what example I was giving, suppose you are doing real estate business, या फिर आप जो कंपनी में काम कर रहे हो वो कंपनी रियल एस्टेट बिजनेस कर रहा है. Now one customer comes to the company and says that I want to purchase a flat from your company. Now the company says, okay, you have to deposit rupees 10 lakhs instantly and the balance amount you have to pay in installments over a period of 24 months. Now he deposited rupees 10 lakhs. What you will do? Whether you will credit rupees 10 lakhs as a revenue of the company or not. So there is IND AS 115. What I told you, unless and until right, interest, risk and property associated with the good is transferred from the seller to the buyer, revenue cannot be recognized. I told you that. Now, when he booked the flat, whether the flat was existing may or may not be. Now, in which floor you will buy the flat? Now, I will buy the flat in the 12th floor. Now, whether the flat was completed? No, it is not completed. Even the foundation work is not completed. He was showing you the sky that in the 12th floor you will have a bungalow or you have a flat. The flat is not completed. So whatever amount you are giving, 10 lakhs, you are just giving an advance. You are not purchasing anything. Nothing is coming to your hand. You are not getting the flat. You are not getting right interest, property and risk associated with the flat. So how you can recognize the revenue? आप उसको कैसे revenue recognize कर दोगे? So if you show it as sell in your financial statements, then somehow you are making the wrong. अब भूल कर रहे हो. So you have to look into IND AS 115 relating to real estate transactions. So it suggests you to recognize revenue on the basis of percentage completion method. To the extent of completion of the construction of the flat, you can recognize the revenue. Okay, and any excess amount that you are receiving, that will be treated as advance from customers. It is a liability to the company. So if you recognize 10 lakhs as your income, then what will happen? Here we are assembled to understand about impact of IND AS on financial reporting and financial analysis. So financial reporting में तो आप गलत कर रहे हो because you are recognizing a revenue which is not at all a revenue. That means you are recognizing a liability as a revenue. Flat is not ready. You are not getting anything. You are paying 10 lakhs as an advance. So that should be treated as an advance from customers, as a short-term liability or current liability in the financial statements of the company. But what you are doing, you are recognizing it as revenue. I am going to the simple things so that you can relate it at this level of study. Now, what will be the impact on financial analysis? If you recognize it as revenue, then what will happen? Your profit is going to increase by rupees 10 lakhs. If your profit increases by rupees 10 lakhs, then you have to pay tax on that. One thing. And second thing, your EPS is going to increase. And you know how as a fundamental valuer, if I am a long-term investor, then how I will make the valuation of the shares of the company. Normally, I take the industry average PE ratio. PE ratio means market price per share divided by earning per share. Industry average PE ratio, I multiply it with the EPS. हम इसको EPS के साथ multiply करें. So if I multiply EPS with the industry average PE ratio, then obviously my market price per share or estimated market price is going to increase. So what I will think as an investor, I will think that the price is undervalued. Suppose my estimation is rupees 100 and presently the share is available in the market at rupees 70, then what I will think? Presently the share is selling at rupees 70, but in future it is expected to touch rupees 100, so I will invest at rupees 70. Suppose my estimation goes wrong and the price comes down, then who is responsible for that? You, as the financial accountant of the company, because you have not gone through the IND AS or accounting standards. So see how there is a networking effect or impact of all these wrong application of accounting standards in the financial endeavor of the business of the company. So these are the reasons why we should have complete or thorough knowledge on the IND AS. Third thing, you remember, my friends, as cost accountant, when you will join the industry, you will not join as accountant. My dear friends, keep it in your mind. You are going to lead 20 or 30 accountants. आप एक लीडर के हिसाब से कंपनी में ज्वाइन करने वाले हो. You are going to join as leader. You are not going to join as accountant. From this part of your life, you should keep in your mind that I am here to develop or build myself as a knowledge resource or knowledge asset. मैं यहाँ पे कोई सर्टिफिकेट खरीदने के लिए नहीं बैठा हूँ. I am a future cost and management accountant. I am going to lead the financials of the company. Maybe within next 3 or 4 years, I am going to lead 20, 30 or 40 accountants, junior accountants. So where the junior accountants will make mistake or where the junior accountants will not understand about the application of the IND AS, I will be there to help them. How to apply the IND AS properly to prepare the financial statements of the company. So what I want to bring to your focus, the basic thing that I want to bring to your focus is that you as the cost accountant or future finance leaders of the country should have command over all these IND AS. You cannot compromise with IND AS, my friends. In fact, I will tell that you should try your level best to have complete command over accounting standards, IND AS, and also ICDS, income computation and disclosure standards. These are the 3 things. So if you are making filing income tax returns of a company, when you are preparing the financial statements for the taxation part, see, there may be difference between profit for income tax purpose and profit for accounting purposes. And the difference may lead to deferred tax asset or deferred tax liability. You will learn it whenever you will go for accounting for taxes. There is a separate IND AS on that. So my accounting profit may substantially differ from my taxation profit due to difference in accounting standards and income computation and disclosure standards, ICDS. All these ICDS are explained under section 145 of the Income Tax Act. So what I want to bring to your focus, as cost accountants from the very beginning, as students of cost accountants from the very beginning, you should keep in your mind that I should have complete command over accounting standards which are applicable to non-corporates or corporates having turnover of less than 250 crores and non-listed in recognized stock exchange. For them, accounting standard is applicable. There is very little difference between accounting standards and IND AS. You just have to understand the difference. These accounting standards are issued by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now, if corporates are listed in recognized stock exchange, irrespective of their net worth, they have to follow the IND AS. उनको IND AS follow करना पड़ेगा. They are bound. Now, if the corporate's net worth is more than 250 crores, irrespective of the fact whether the corporate is listed in recognized stock exchange or not listed in recognized stock exchange, they have to compulsorily follow IND AS. उनको IND AS follow करना पड़ेगा. Now, who is the authority to IND AS? National Financial Reporting Authority, NFRA. This authority is established by Companies Act 2013. So it is a statutory body. Remember it. It is responsible for development of IND AS and it is developing the IND AS as per the recommendation of Accounting Standard Board of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Then third point, these IND AS are in par with mostly are in par with international financial reporting standards followed by almost all European countries. So there is particularly no difference between IFRS and IND AS. So if you have complete knowledge on IND AS, then you are covering the IFRS also. But if you are thinking that by having knowledge on IND AS, I can go to US and I can do their accounting, then somehow you are making the mistake. Because US is the country which is not following the IFRS. It has its own GAAP, US GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, US GAAP. So in order to evaluate the financial statements of a US company, you have to look into the US GAAP. IFRS may not work there. Though the principles are almost same, but there are little bit differences that you must understand. वो आपको समझना पड़ेगा. So what I want to bring to your focus, एक कंपनी का जब हम इनकम स्टेटमेंट बनाते हैं या फिर प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट बनाते हैं, व्हाट वी नॉर्मली लुक इनटू सेल्स एंड एक्सपेंडिचर्स. नाउ हाउ द सेल विल बी रिकॉग्नाइज्ड? सेल रिकॉग्नाइज किया जाएगा या नहीं किया जाएगा? It is there in IND AS. IND AS 115 is the relevant accounting standard for recognition of revenue. Revenue recognition के लिए जो relevant accounting standard है, that is IND AS 115. Now, what IND AS 115 says? IND AS 115 basically says that, if I summarize, because we cannot in detail discuss about the IND AS here, but I'm just summarizing the concepts. IND AS basically says that revenue can be recognized provided all right, interest, property, and risk associated with the good is transferred from the seller to the buyer. So I have given you the example of real estate transactions. Suppose I am purchasing a building, land with building. The cost of the land and building is 100 lakhs. Now I am paying rupees 50 lakhs to the builder. Now how the builder will account for this 50 lakhs? Suppose the cost of the land is 20 lakhs and the cost of the building is 80 lakhs. Upon payment of 50 lakhs, builder registered the land in my name. Builder ने क्या किया? मेरे नाम पे land registration कर दिया. The first fact is that builder has transferred right, interest, property, and risk associated with the land to me. Land related जो भी right, interest, property, and risk था, builder ने मुझे transfer कर दिया. So 20 lakhs is the cost of the land. So I will recognize instantly rupees 20 lakhs as the revenue. No problem, out of 50 lakhs. Now I have to pay 80 lakhs, but I have paid 30 lakhs because total cost of the building is 100 lakhs. I have paid 50 lakhs, 20 lakhs towards the land, 30 lakhs towards the building. But I have to pay total 80 lakhs towards the building. Now the builder should look into how much construction is complete with regard to the building. Building का कितना percentage completion हो चुका है construction. Suppose the building's construction is over up to 40%. So 100% building के लिए value कितना है? 80 lakhs. So 40% construction के लिए value कितना है? 40% multiplied by 80 lakhs. So 32 lakhs. So the customer was supposed to pay 32 lakhs towards the construction of the building, but the customer has paid only 30 lakhs because customer has paid 50 lakhs. Out of that, 20 lakhs went into land and 30 lakhs went into building. So customer was supposed to pay 32 lakhs, but customer paid 30 lakhs. So how the accounting will be made here? As per the IND AS, if right, interest, property, and risk is transformed from the seller to the buyer, then revenue will be recognized to the extent of transfer of right, interest, property, and risk. So to the extent of 40% revenue will be recognized. So revenue will be recognized to the extent of 32 lakhs. Now again, there are three fundamental accounting assumptions as per IND AS also. What are the fundamental accounting assumptions? Going concern, consistency, and accrual. These IND AS are applicable provided the organization is a going concern organization. That is, in the near term, the organization or the business is not going to be closed. There is a perpetual succession working within the company. That is, company is a going concern company. It is not going to shut down in the near future. Then only you have to apply the IND AS as it is. Otherwise, you have to prepare the financial statements under realizable value basis, not under going concern basis. The second is consistency. The accounting policies have to follow consistently on year-to-year basis. That means the accounting policy I followed last year, I have to follow current year, and I have to follow in future. If I have made any deviation, then I have to give the reason of deviation from the accounting policies. And the final is accrual. That means we are not here recognizing revenue under cash basis. We are recognizing revenue under accrual basis. Here is the difference. Under accrual basis, I will recognize revenue as 32 lakhs, but under cash basis, I will recognize revenue to the extent of 30 lakhs. So how much revenue I will recognize? I will recognize revenue 32 lakhs. So I will recognize revenue from land to the extent of 20 lakhs, and I will recognize revenue from the transfer of property to the extent of how much? 32 lakhs. So total revenue need to be recognized is 52 lakhs. Total revenue need to be recognized is 52 lakhs. But how much the company has received? 50 lakhs. Then what to do with 2 lakhs? 2 lakh का हम क्या करेंगे? It is receivable from customers. Receivable from customer, current asset is 2 lakh. So revenue will be recognized, sales will be recognized 52 lakhs, but 2 lakhs will be treated as receivable from customers. That's all. So what accounting entry I will pass? Bank account debited how much? 50 lakhs. Receivable account debited 2 lakhs. Revenue from sale of property कितना credit होगा? 52 lakhs. This is the accounting entry that you should pass. But without understanding the accounting standards or Ind AS, अगर आप Ind AS के बारे में समझोगे नहीं और आप क्या accounting follow करोगे, you will recognize only to the extent you have received. Normally, if you go to small real estate company, when we are auditing the companies, we normally find out कि whatever amount they are receiving, सर हमें 50 लाख मिला, 50 लाख को 20 लाख लैंड के लिए छोड़ दिया क्योंकि उसके ऊपर जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, लेकिन 30 लाख के ऊपर तो जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल है, इसलिए हमने 30 लाख के ऊपर जीएसटी दे दिया. तो 30 लाख के ऊपर अगर हमने जीएसटी दिया तो हम रेवेन्यू तो 30 लाख से रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे. वी विल रिकॉग्नाइज रेवेन्यू ओनली टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ 30 लाख. My dear friends, there is a difference between on what you are paying GST and what you are recognizing revenue and what you are recognizing revenue. Delete this infusion from your mind that whatever GST I am paying, the taxable value is my revenue. It is not like that. ऐसा नहीं है. मैंने 100 लाख के ऊपर जीएसटी दिया, इसका मतलब नहीं है कि 100 लाख का रेवेन्यू है, क्योंकि जीएसटी का प्रोविजंस क्या कहता है? What GST says? GST says that even if you are getting any advance from your customer, you have to pay the GST. Even if you do not receive revenue from the client, if you have provided the service, if service is completed, invoice is raised, but you have not received the money, still you have to pay the GST. आपको GST देना पड़ेगा. आपको पैसा मिले या पैसा ना मिले, you have to pay the GST. Whether you are receiving advance from the customers or whether you are receiving sell proceeds from the customer, you have to pay the GST. आपको GST देना पड़ेगा. इस मंथ में आप रेवेन्यू रिलेटेड अगर कुछ भी मिलता है आपको, तो उसके ऊपर आपको GST अगले महीने में देना पड़ेगा. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि वो आपका रेवेन्यू है, it is advance. So in this scenario, what will happen? You know it better. कि land is an immovable property. On transfer of land, we are not liable to pay GST. हमको GST देने की जरूरत नहीं है. We do not have to pay the GST. But on construction of revenue, on construction of building, we have to pay the GST at the rate 12% if you are taking the input credit. अगर हम input credit ले गए तो हमको उसके ऊपर GST देना पड़ेगा 12%. So on 32 lakhs, I will give GST. 32 लाख के ऊपर मैं GST दूंगा. But how much revenue I will recognize in my profit and loss account? I will recognize revenue on my GST on my profit and loss account to the extent of 32 lakhs. So 2 lakhs will be recognized as मतलब receivable from customers. These 2 lakhs जो मुझे नहीं मिला है, वो मेरा sundry debtors के जैसा पड़ा रहेगा अकाउंट में. So do not confuse with GST. You may pay GST on 30 lakhs, but you may recognize revenue 32 lakhs. That is a different issue. So what I want to bring to your focus, you have to keep all the principles separately. Principles under Income Tax Act, principles under accounting, and principles under income tax. You have to keep all these things separately. जीएसटी के लिए जीएसटी प्रिंसिपल्स एप्लीकेबल होगा, इनकम टैक्स के लिए आईसीडीएस एप्लीकेबल होगा और अकाउंटिंग के लिए इंड एस एप्लीकेबल होगा. So that is the relevance of Ind AS in financial reporting. Now Ind AS not only talks about revenue, it also talks about provisions. जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया कुछ देर पहले, मैं आपको बता रहा था. Okay, provisioning, Ind AS 37 relates to provisioning. What it says? मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं. सपोज आपका एक दुकान है, You are running a company and the company is involved in retail sales. Company retail sales कर रहा है. Now some customers come to your company and they ask you to sell some products, food products. Now you sold them food products on 20th March. Now the people consumed the food products and some people faced food poisoning. Now they filed a case against your company. A legal suit was filed against your company on 26th March 2022 or 2021. And the compensation claim was rupees 5 lakhs. The case is pending before the court of law. Again, I am summarizing the facts of the case. You sold some food products to a customer. The customer consumed the food product and felt food poisoning. The customer filed a legal suit against you on 26th March, claiming a compensation of rupees 5 lakhs. Claiming a compensation of rupees 5 lakhs. Now the case is pending before the court of law. You are finalizing the books of account of the company as on 31st March. It is not that you are cost accountant means you are going to look only into the cost accounting. You are also the internal auditors of the company. आप internal audit भी कर सकते हो. So while doing the internal audit, you have to look into whether all INDs have been complied or not. My friends, also remember, big corporates are appointing cost accountants as internal auditors of the company. Internal auditors of the company. Because internal auditors are appointed by the management of the company. They are not appointed, they are not external to the company, they are internal to the company. So if you are appointed as internal auditors of the company, then you have to look into whether all the compliances are made as per the IND AS or not. IND AS के मुताबिक सब compliances हुए हैं या नहीं हुए, that you have to look into. आपको देखना पड़ेगा. Now my question is, as on 31st March, while finalizing the books of account of the company, whether I will create a provision of rupees 5 lakhs or not. अगर भाई compensation पड़ा हुआ है, तो एक provision create कर देते हैं 5 लाख का, क्या problem है? But here again we have to look into the provisions of IND AS. What IND AS says, what IND AS 37 says with this regard. In this regard में IND AS 37 क्या कह रहा है? Whether I am an expert to give my opinion, I will go to the legal advisor or advocate of the company and I will ask him, sir, what is the status of the case? Case का status क्या है? आप मुझे बताइए. Whether हम जीत गए हैं या फिर हार गए. अगर जीतेंगे तो कंपेंसेशन देने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर हारेंगे तो कंपेंसेशन देना पड़ेगा. तो एडवोकेट क्या कहेगा? एडवोकेट कहेगा कि सर, जो लगता है कि देखो, मैं तो ऐसा केस लड़ रहा हूं कि हमारा फूड खरीदने के बाद उसने उसको एक इनहाइजीनिक प्लेस में रखा, जिसके वजह से फूड डाइल्यूट हो गया और it becomes poisonous. So we are not responsible. Once we sold, it is the responsibility of the customer to take care of the food. So इस हिसाब से मैं केस लड़ रहा हूं और पक्का हम जीतेंगे. There are 80% chance is that we are going to win the case. अगर हम केस जीत रहे हैं तो हमको तो कंपनसेशन देना नहीं पड़ेगा. Then why I should show it as a provision? Why I should reduce my profit? Why I will reduce my EPS? Why my market capitalization will reduce? So in such scenario, I will take the help of the advocate. And if advocate says that we are 80% sure that we are going to win the case, then there is no need to clear the provision. We'll just recognize it as a contingent liability by writing in the explanatory notes. Now you will ask me, sir, whether explanatory notes are part of the financial statement. Yes. Yes, my friend. There are 5 components of financial statement as per IND AS and as per Companies Act 2013. What are the 5 components? Balance sheet, income statement or profit and loss statement, statement of changes in equity, cash flow statement, and explanatory notes. So if I am writing as a disclosure in the explanatory notes, it is forming a part of the financial statement, but it is not going to reduce my profit. मैं सिर्फ दिखाऊंगा मेरे स्टेक होल्डर्स को कि मेरे अगेंस्ट में केस चल रहा है. अगर मैं हार जाऊंगा तो मुझे 5 लाख देना पड़ेगा, लेकिन आज के दिन में मैं कॉन्फिडेंट हूं कि मैं केस जीतूंगा. I will win the case. Now technically what accounting standard or IND AS says regarding this? IND AS says you will clear the provision provided all these 4 conditions are satisfied. 1, there must be an obligatory event. reliable accounting estimation relating to the obligatory event must be possible. There must be probable cash outflow. What is obligatory event? Past event, present publications. Past event, the date when the case was filed against me. That is 26th March. Present obligation as on 31st March, because legal suit has already been filed against me. So it is an obligatory event. Whether reliable accounting estimation is possible? Yes, it is possible. Why? Because the compensation amount is, because in accounts, you know, there is a money measurement concept. Unless and until we are not in a position to reliably measure monetarily, we cannot recognize the income or expenditure or asset or liability. Here the compensation is fixed, 5 lakhs. So reliable accounting estimation is possible. And third condition is that there must be probable cash outflow, not possible cash outflow. What is the difference between probable cash outflow and possible cash outflow? More likely than not is probable. That means if it is more than 50% chances of occurrence, it is probable, else it is possible. More than 50% chances of occurrence. What is more than 50% chances of occurrence? Here the chances of occurrence is 20%, not more than 50%. So it is not a probable item, it is a possible item. If any of the item is a condition is not satisfied, then it is a contingency, it is not a provision. It is a contingency, it is not a provision. So contingency को सिर्फ disclose करना पड़ेगा notes to account में, लेकिन provision को adjust करना पड़ेगा financial statement. So here we are less than 50% sure of making the payment. So provision is not required. 20% chances of occurrence, provision is not required. We just have to write a note that it is a contingent liability. If you lose the case, then we have to pay 5 lakhs. That's enough. लेकिन गलती से अगर आपने IND AS को फॉलो ना करके 5 लाख का आपने प्रोविजन क्रिएट कर दिया, then what will happen? The profit of the company will be deteriorated by 5 lakhs. Market capitalization will fall by rupees 5 lakhs, and EPS of the company will fall by fall to that extent. And obviously, for all these happenings, who is responsible? You are going to be responsible. So be sure you are following all the relevant accounting standards while preparing the financial statements of the company. This is the relevance of accounting standards. Now, IND AS or financial statements का जो characteristics है, what are the characteristics of financial statements? The characteristics of financial statement are: 1, they must be understandable as per IND AS. I am telling simply as per IND AS. They must be understandable. They must be reliable. They must be relevance. So URR, understandability, reliability, relevance. Relevance means only the items of material in nature should be disclosed. Factors to be considered while selecting the accounting policy. The most important factor is materiality and substance over form. So on the basis of relevance or materiality, we should consider the items as a special recognition in the financial statement. And true and fair view. The financial statement should show a true and fair picture of the business of the company. These are the basic minimum need of a financial statement. And this is as per IND AS, Indian Accounting Standards. Now, I told you something about provisioning, means expenses, when to recognize the expenses. I told you when to recognize the revenue as per IND AS 115, provisioning as per IND AS 117. Now, let me go to assets. What IND AS says about assets. I'm just briefing out, or I'm just summarizing the issues relating to the IND AS so that you can relate it to the financial statements. Now, if you go to the assets, अगर आप assets में जाओगे, तो IND AS 16 relates to plant, property and equipments, PPE, properties, plants and equipments. मतलब fixed assets. There is another in IND AS, that is investment property, IND AS 38. Investment property. What is the difference between PPE, property, plant and equipment, IND AS 16, and investment property, IND AS 38? Let me tell you. 16 IND AS relates to those fixed assets which are used in the business. Used in the business. अगर आप अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड में देखोगे, अगर कोई भी आपको इंटरव्यू में भी पूछता है, सी in interviews when you will appear the interviews after passing the examination or any interview during the course of your study also, then normally they will ask you ki what conditions need to be satisfied to recognize revenue of the company. Then you have to elaborate what I told you according to Ind AS 115. So right, interest, property, risk related to the property has to be transferred, and in case of services, the obligations related to the service must have been transferred as per the agreement. This is Ind AS 115. If you are appearing the interview of real estate companies, then the way I elaborated for real estate companies, you have to elaborate in the interview also. If you are applying for job of accountant in any company, then make yourself 100% sure that you are going to get questions in interviews from Ind AS 115, Ind AS 37, Ind AS 16, Ind AS 17, Ind AS 23, Ind AS 28. What are these 4 important Ind AS relating to assets? Ind AS 16 related to property, plant and equipments. Ind AS 17 relates to leases. Ind AS 23 relates to borrowing cost. Ind AS 28 relates to impairment of assets. I'm not going to advanced Ind AS because we are in the intermediate level. Okay. If I just tell to show my knowledge, that will not be fruitful at your end. Let us understand whatever is required at this point of time, what we can accept. हम जो भी accept कर सकते हैं उसके बारे में ही हम discussion करेंगे. Now, Ind AS 16 PPE, Ind AS 17 your leases, Ind AS 23 related to borrowing cost, and Ind AS 28 related to impairment of assets. Now, what are the relevance of Ind AS relating to all these assets? And there is Ind AS, there is accounting standard 26 related to intangible assets. Now, let me tell you, Ind AS simply says what conditions need to be satisfied in order to recognize an asset. अगर एक asset को हम recognize करना चाहते हैं, then what conditions need to be satisfied in order to recognize the asset? कोई भी asset को recognize करने के लिए 2 conditions satisfy होना जरूरी है. You always keep in your mind. It is as per Ind AS basic principle that you should keep in your mind. You may get question in interviews also, in any interview. What are the 2 conditions need to be satisfied for recognition of assets or fixed assets? Condition 1, the asset must be capable of giving future economic benefit. I am using the word FEB, future economic benefit to the company. वो asset company को future economic benefit देना जरूरी है. Point 1. And point 2 is reliable accounting estimation of the asset is possible. So, ये 2 condition किसी भी asset के लिए जरूरी है, whether it is related to investment property, whether it is related to intangible asset, or whether it is related to tangible asset, that is PP, property, plant and equipment. कोई भी अगर आपको पूछता है कि you have an asset, you are not using the asset, can I recognize the asset in my balance sheet? मेरा balance sheet में मैं वो asset को recognize कर सकता हूँ. See, in balance sheet we recognize asset provided they are used in the business. If they are not used in the business, then we can categorize them as investment property. तो कोई भी नॉन करंट एसेट को या फिर फिक्स्ड एसेट को हम 2 तरह से देख सकते हैं, whether it is used in the business or whether it is investment property, not used in the business but it is held for sale subsequently in long term, not in short term. If you are holding an asset for sale in the normal course of business, then it is an inventory, it is not a fixed asset. Remember it. तो एसेट का क्लासिफिकेशन भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. What type of asset is this? It is a non-current asset or current asset, whether it is inventory or whether it is fixed asset. तो fixed asset recognition के लिए 2 criteria. One is future economic benefit, benefit of enduring nature. That means benefit is expected to come for more than 1 year in future. एक साल से ज्यादा फ्यूचर में मुझे बेनिफिट मिलेगा, तभी मैं उसको फिक्स्ड एसेट के हिसाब से रिकॉग्नाइज करूंगा. पॉइंट 1. सेकंड कंडीशन इज reliable accounting estimation. We cannot recognize any asset unless and until money measurement concept is justified. अगर मनी मेजरमेंट कंसेप्ट जस्टिफाई नहीं हो रहा है तब हम एसेट को रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर सकते. प्लीज मेक योरसेल्फ श्योर. सो मनी मेजरमेंट कंसेप्ट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. रिलायबल अकाउंटिंग एस्टिमेशन. Now, in addition to this, you have to look into two parts. Every year, we have to make two analyses relating to our fixed assets. One, whether the value of the asset has increased, then we have to make a revaluation of the asset. हमको asset का revaluation करना पड़ेगा. Time is around, I think we have time up to 1 o'clock or what?
Yes, sir. 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
ଗୋଟେ 15
ଗୋଟେ 15
ଗୋଟେ ବୋଧେ ଅଛି ସାର୍.
ହବ ସାର୍ ଯେତେ ବାଟ ଯାଉ ସାର୍ ଚଳିବ.
ନାଇଁ ପିଲା ଗୁଡା ଖାଇବେ ନା.
ଠିକ ଅଛି ସାର୍, ଚାଲୁ.
ଓହୋ,
ଏମିତି ସାର୍ ଅପରଚୁନିଟି ତ ସାର୍ ମିଳିବ.
ହଉ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିବା. So asset will recognize provided two conditions need to be satisfied. As I told you, again I am repeating. One, future economic benefit. Second, reliable accounting estimation. These are the basic two conditions need to be satisfied for recognition of asset. Thereafter, every year end, we have to make two things. Whether the value of the asset increased, then we have to make a revaluation of the asset. Upward revaluation is permitted under which accounting standard? IND AS 16. IND AS 16 itself permits you to make a upward revaluation of the asset. For example, suppose I purchased the asset as rupees 1 lakh. I claimed depreciation for 1 year, 15,000, and the WDV of the asset, written down value of the asset, as on 31st March 2022 is 85,000. But due to some reason, due to increase in the market perception, the market price of the share or fair value of the share increased to 1,50,000, 15,000. How the fair value measurement will be done? That is a question. Who can make a fair value measurement? That is a question. Fair value measurement can be made by a registered valuer. And the principles for fair value measurement is given under IND AS 113. There is another IND AS 113, which gives us the methods or procedures for finding out the fair value of the asset. Asset का fair value निकालने के लिए जो methods है, वो IND AS 113 हमको बता रहा है. Can as a cost accountant or chartered accountant, we can make the fair valuation of the asset and increase the value of the asset? Can we make the revaluation of the asset? Revaluation करेंगे, उसका accounting कैसे करेंगे वो हम देखेंगे. We'll look into that. But the first and foremost question is that whether the company itself is capable or entitled to increase the realizable value of the asset. No. As per Companies Act, Section 247, only registered valuers are entitled to make revaluation of asset. ले लो कि आपके पास एक लैंड है. लैंड आपने खरीदा था 10 लाख देकर. आज के दिन में आपको लगता है कि लैंड का वैल्यू 50 लाख हो गया. ठीक है, वहां पे कोई नया प्रोजेक्ट आ गया और प्रोजेक्ट आने की वजह से लैंड का वैल्यू बढ़ गया. My question is, can I increase the value of the land from 10 lakhs to 15 lakhs? I'm avoiding the income tax consequences, because the day when I make revaluation of the land, I have to pay capital gain tax under Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act के हिसाब से मुझे capital gain tax देना पड़ेगा. Even if I am not selling it, but still I have to pay the capital gain tax if I am increasing the value of the land. But here my question is, who will decide whether the land value increased from 10 lakhs to 50 lakhs? So registered valuer will decide. So take registered valuer तीन तरह का होता है. एक land and building valuation करते हैं जो civil engineers, those have passed IBBI course. Plant and machinery के लिए जो plant and machinery mechanical engineers है, those have completed the registered valuer course. और एक asset है securities और financial asset. IND AS भी है उसके बारे में. उसका वैल्यूएशन आप लोग भी कर सकते हो, कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट्स, MBAs, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, आफ्टर कंप्लीटिंग रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूएशन कोर्स आप कर सकते हो, बिजनेस का वैल्यूएशन कर सकते हो. So as cost accountant, we are not what qualified to make the valuation of the any asset, valuation of any asset. We have to pass the registered valuer course. But suppose the value has increased, value अगर बढ़ गया, तो उस केस में मैं क्या करूंगा? I can make upward valuation under which index? Index 16, subject to satisfaction of conditions. That is, the fair value of the asset must be calculated. Now fair value बढ़ा है, ये रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर का एक सर्टिफिकेट लाएंगे, रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर लिखेगा बाकायदा कि हाँ द वैल्यू ऑफ द लैंड एज ऑन डेट इज 50 lakhs, then you can make a revaluation reserve of 40 lakhs. Now that is not enough as per accounting standard. Suppose it is plant and machinery, it is building, you are making the revaluation, upward revaluation of the asset. In fact, upward revaluation of the inventories you are making. If you are making upward revaluation of fixed asset, I am telling about the fixed asset. The profit on revaluation will not be credited to the profit and loss account because it is not a realizable profit. You are not a dealer of land, building, plant and machinery. You are a user of land, building and plant and machinery. You are not a dealer. You are a user of land, building, plant and machinery. That is the difference, basic difference. So since you are using the plant and machinery for the purpose of your business, if you are making upward revaluation, अगर आप upward revaluation कर रहे हो, if you are making the upward revaluation, then the revaluation profit should be transferred to revaluation profit or revaluation reserve. That is, it is to be transferred to the reserve and surplus, and it will be continue to be shown on the reserve and surplus till the asset is sold. जब तक asset sell नहीं हो जाता, तब तक ये revaluation reserve retained earnings में पड़ा रहेगा, ये profit and loss में नहीं जाएगा. You cannot pay dividend from this revaluation reserve. See, if it is transferred to the profit and loss account, then your profit will be increased. Then you are showing increased profit to attract the investors. Investors को attract करने के लिए या फिर stakeholders को attract करने के लिए आप क्या कर रहे हो? Profit को inhalate कर रहे हो, profit को बढ़ा रहे हो. It is not permitted. In fact, as the promoter, you can take dividend from such profit also. It is also not profited, not permitted. So revaluation profit is a unrealized profit. It cannot be credited to profit and loss account. It will be shown as a part of reserve and surplus in the balance sheet. And it will be continued to be shown as a part of reserve and surplus unless and until the asset is sold in the open market. जब तक sell नहीं हो जाता तब तक ये retained earnings में ही रहेगा, ये profit and loss statement में नहीं जाएगा. This is Ind AS. So see, financial reporting and financial analysis. Financial reporting में ये जाएगा statement of changes in equity में. It will not go to statement of income or statement of profit and loss. It will go to statement of changes in equity. आपका इक्विटी चेंज होगा, नेटवर्थ चेंज होगा, लेकिन आपका प्रॉफिट में कोई इंपैक्ट नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि प्रॉफिट में से बोनस देना पड़ता है, प्रॉफिट में से डिविडेंड देना पड़ता है, प्रॉफिट में से प्रॉफिट बढ़ने से ईपीएस बढ़ जाता है, ईपीएस बढ़ने से प्राइस अर्निंग रेशियो मल्टीप्लाई करने के बाद उसका मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन बढ़ जाता है. सो ऑल दिस व्हाट effect are there if you are raising the profit. So it is not permitted. It is not at all permitted. Secondly, if you go to the impairment, suppose the reverse case. Reverse case में क्या है? Suppose the market value of the company, market value of the asset decreases, but you are continuing to show the asset at a higher value. You are continuing to show the asset at a higher value means you are showing a higher asset base. Valuation of share of the company is made on the basis of 1 EPS multiplied by P ratio. Second, EPS multiplied by cost of equity, average cost of equity. Valuation of share is also made by net asset value divided by number of shares. So what is net asset value? Net asset value is realizable asset value of assets minus realizable value of the liabilities. So if there is a substantial, I am using the word substantial reduction in the value of the assets, अगर वैल्यू ऑफ द एसेट में सब्सटेंशियल रिडक्शन होता है तब you have to recognize the impairment loss. Impairment loss means reduction in the market value of the asset. Reduction in the market value of the asset. Now, suppose there is a permanent reduction in the market value of the asset. Suppose you are showing the asset at rupees 1 lakh. Now there is a permanent diminution in the value of the asset to the extent of 20,000. So its present market value is 80,000. So you can recognize the impairment loss. Impairment loss to fixed asset, profit and loss to impairment loss. Now you will ask me, sir, revaluation profit को आपने profit and loss में नहीं लिया, लेकिन impairment loss को आप profit and loss में ले रहे हो. Because you know that we are following conservative principle of conservatism. Recognize all losses, but do not recognize gain unless and until it is realized. It is also there in India. Gain को तब आप recognize करोगे जब ये realize होगा, but loss को आप instantly recognize होगे. As and when there is loss, you have to recognize it instantly. That is the reason why. See. Why there may be a question in the examination also. Why impairment loss is transferred to the profit and loss statement, but revaluation profit is not transferred to the profit and loss statement. In fact, it is shown as a part of reserve and surplus. It may be a question, case law type of question. In this scenario, you have to write that it is due to the concept of conservatism. Recognize all losses, but do not recognize gain unless and until it is realized. जब तक ये realize नहीं हो जाता, तब तक आप उसको recognize नहीं करोगे. That is the reason. That is the basic reason. So impairment loss immediately transferred to the what? Profit and loss. But if there is an impairment loss due to earlier revaluation profit, past में मेरा revaluation profit था, so मेरे पास revaluation reserve है, but now there is a diminution in the value of the asset. What I will do? I will write up impairment loss to the revaluation reserve. Revaluation reserve account, profit and loss account debited to impairment loss के जगह हम क्या करेंगे? Revaluation reserve to impairment loss हम कर सकते हैं. Suppose I am making revaluation reserve. See, these are the things that you have to keep in your mind. Suppose in the first case, what I said, I charged depreciation 15,000 on the asset value of 1 lakh. Present WDV of the asset is 85,000. But subsequently, the market price of the share increased to 1,10,000. I want to revalue the asset. I got necessary certificate from the registered valuer. I want to show the asset at rupees 1,10,000. So as I have already charged 15,000, I have accumulated depreciation of 15,000. Out of the revaluation of 25,000, 15,000 will be taken from the depreciation and 10,000 will be taken to the what? Revaluation reserve. That. So depreciation to the extent of revaluation should be charged to revaluation reserve subsequently, and original asset के value पर जो depreciation है वो profit and loss में जाएगा. और revaluation अभी जब asset revaluation हो गया, so suppose I am making revaluation of 10,000, 10,000 के ऊपर जो depreciation जाएगा वो revaluation reserve को जाएगा, लेकिन 1 लाख के ऊपर जो depreciation जाएगा वो profit and loss में जाएगा. So depreciation on the historical cost of the asset will be charged to profit and loss account, and depreciation on the revalued portion of the asset will be charged to the revaluation reserve. So these are the things which are there in the IND AS. Unless and until you have 100% command over IND AS, you cannot understand these things properly. So it is already 1 o'clock. Since the time is up to 1:15, as Chairman Himoj Mishra said, so I am putting 5 to 10 minutes for question and answer. If you have any question, you can ask. Else we can complete the session. Na kon kohuଛ ସୂର୍ଯ୍ୟନାରାୟଣ ତ୍ରିପାଠୀ sir?
Sir, chat box ରେ କିଛି question sir ଅଛି.
Okay. Badrinath Khuntia. Sir, my question is that if any person notice any default in the respective index, default in index, can he request to the ICI to investigate to the matter and modify the concern? See what happens, how the index is developed. Once the, Accounting Standard Board of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India develops the index, as per the International Financial Reporting Standard. Step 1. After development of the IND AS, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India send it to the public. It send it to its members as well to the general public to give comment on those accounting standards. Those are known as drafted accounting standard, draft accounting standard. Now, as a member of these eminent institutes like Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, or maybe students of these institutes, we have all rights to give our comment on the draft accounting standard. After getting all the comments on the accounting standards, then there is a committee. The committee includes chartered accountants, cost accountants, members from the Nfra, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Okay, so there is a committee. These changes are presented before the committee. Then the committee finally take the decision, okay, to make it clear. Isko clear karne ke liye. So once the committee passes the draft, then it gets the status of IND AS. Now, once the IND AS released, we cannot change the IND AS. We can just give comments, and if comments are noticed and justified, subsequently it is upon them to decide whether it will be changed or not. Our responsibility is to follow the IND AS because they are applicable equally to all corporates. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Badrinath, your doubt is cleared or not? I don't know whether Badrinath Kuntia is sitting before the.
Yes, sir. He's sitting, sir. He's giving in the chat box that yes, sir.
Okay.
So, by this, I request NC Koro sir to give the formal vote of thanks. Koro sir.
Sir, Koro sir, perhaps some technical problem.
Okay.
May proceed on, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Sir. Request
Hello.
sir to give the formal vote of thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all of you. I am NC Kaur on behalf of South Odisha Chapter of Cost Accountants, the founder
Sir,
chairman.
namaskar, sir.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Sir, आपको वीडियो आसुनी.
Sir, video on करो sir.
आपको वीडियो आसुनी sir.
Sir, I'm on the way.
अच्छा. हाँ.
So, of Bhubaneswar Chapter of Cost Accountants, first of all, I convey my sincere thanks and gratitude to our resource person, Sri S.P. Das, Senior Chartered Accountant, Practical Chartered Accountant, and convey my sincere thanks to Mr. Joshi, and my thanks to Bhubaneswar Chapter of Cost Accountants, the Managing Committee, and my thanks also to the Niranjan Mishra, my friend, as well as council colleague of Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Uttam Naik, my colleague, Vice Chairman ARC, and at the least but not last, the students friends, those are being attended this seminar. Speaker's speech will definitely add a knowledge bank to the student friends, and it's a very practical issue in this relevance of reporting. And also this type of interaction I expect from Bhubaneswar chapter as well as our sister concerns, all the chapters of Odisha. Time to time they will have to interact with this type of seminar, and and we'll also invite in future Mr. S.P. Das, who is a very practical and as well as very knowledgeable person. So, sir,
If
Thank
hope,
you, sir.
sir, we'll have a seminar at your Siddhivinayak enclave, jo Kalikot Nirmal Jhar, it is beautiful peace place. And I request all of the chapter friends, those are attended this seminar, to have a seminar at this Siddha Vinayak Pitha, Nirmal Jhar. Very good, nice place. We have also South Odisha chapter arranged one meeting at that place, and it was a family get together of South Odisha chapter cost accountants as well as the invitees. So I hope in near future that type of seminar must be conducted at the Nirmal Jhar, a peace place, and we'll have to enjoy the nature as well as the sightseeing and everything. So I hope the seminar today definitely add some knowledge value to the persons, learned persons that attended as well as my students. Thanking you all. Thanking you all.
Sir, namaskar.
Yes, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. I have already completed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir, गोटे निर्मल झर गोटे प्रोग्राम करा पे मुझे रिक्वेस्ट करता निर्मल झर नियर खलीकोट सर हम तो अबे पैंडेमिक पर अलाउ कराया गला नहीं एंड पैंडेमिक इज ओवर नाउ ऑलमोस्ट ओवर सो यहाँ पे ऑल चैप्टर सेमिनार सर it will be sir lead by South Odisha chapter take the lead. I will pass in the managing committee the proposal. Nirmal Jhar sir near Khalikot, the nice place sir. Every person with family they can attend and they can have to enjoy.
ठीक है सर ठीक है सर सेटा आउ अलग जगह सर डिस्कशन करिबा सर स्टूडेंट सेमिनार एटा छाड़म सर पछे कथा
श्योर सर
ओके सर थैंक यू दास सर थैंक यू सर नमस्कार